If he hears about any word that she said in her, at any moment, it takes him back to her. So he connects in one way or another. He connects everything he hears, everything he thinks about, everything he sees, everything he comes across. He connects it in one way or another to his beloved woman. And so is a woman with a man that she loves. This is how we do in human love. So what do you think about the love of that we have, that the righteous people have for Allah, and Allah is beyond compare? When the hearts become preoccupied with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, so they think about Him all the time. They're always concerned of what Allah loves and what Allah hates. When they see something, they say, this is the creation of Allah. When they see a lesson, when they come across a lesson, they say, this is a gift from Allah that He wants us to reflect on. So they always, everything they have, they link it to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So their lives is, saturated, is full with notions about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and His greatness. Those are the happy people. And this is how we want to be. So let's make our Eid like that. So this is, by this, if a person reaches this level, this is how great, this is how great their life will become, and this is how great their character will be as Muslims, whose hearts are attached to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and all the qualities will improve based on that. So when we have tawakkul in Allah, we feel at rest, because we know Allah controls everything. So we fear none but Allah. And we know, sometimes I personally tried that. Look around in the world, you will see people suffering from depression. People are under stress. People suffer from all sorts of mental illness and mental disorders. Why? Because they carry on themselves, on their shoulders, the burden of the world. If they embark on a business, transaction or a business endeavor, they can't even sleep. They're always thinking about the tiniest details about this. How will that, work? How will that happen? There are so many challenges, so many obstacles, so many hardships. How can I deal with that? They can't sleep. They're thinking about the minute details. And they think, they can fix everything. But look at the state of the Muslim. They always, follow the advice of the Prophet ﷺ when he says, "Ihras ala ma yanfa'uk, wasta'in billah, wa la ta'jaz." Be keen to do the things that are good for you in this world and the hereafter. Pursue the things, pursue your interests. No problem with that. That you pursue the things that are good for you. But with one condition. Don't attach your hearts to them. احرص على ما ينفعك واستعن بالله. Seek the help of Allah, knowing that Allah controls everything. ولا تعجز. And never fall in a sense of helplessness. Or that there are so many details that I have to deal with. How can I deal with all of that? Entrust them with Allah. Allah will take care of that. Once you do that, when you go to bed to sleep, you're free from all worries, from all pains. And you just lie on your back or on your side, and you say, "Oh Allah, I know that you control everything. So I put my trust in you, and I know that you will guide me to the best of ways, and that you will take care of my affairs. So I leave everything for you, and my main concern is to please you, O Allah. So make me focus on that." So you concentrate that you are created to please Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to worship Him, and you forget about all the details that bring you depression, that bring you worries, that bring you heart attacks, that bring you high blood pressure. And you sleep, with all calmness, with all tranquility, and with all peace, while the rest of the world, they need to take tablets they need to take different sorts of medicine to make them go to sleep. This is the case of the Muslim. This is the happiness of the Muslim. The happiness is related to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And we want to establish the awareness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and love for Him in our hearts. So our life, all of it, becomes attached to Allah. So we have the perfect qualities. So this is why I invite you, for those who followed us throughout Ramadan, that the things that we talked about, try to introduce that to your life. Try to live by that. Don't make it theoretical knowledge. Make it your way of life. And you see how things will change. And how perfect person you will be and you will become. So we want to become like the companions, that when one of the tabi'in asked about them, someone who saw them, he said, they used to joke. They used to crack jokes and, laugh and enjoy themselves. But while Iman in the hearts was like mountains, well established, unshakable, unwavering. So they knew how to live this life. Far from depression, far from stress, far from worries. But still, the life was constructive and was full with, constructive effort. Was full with success after the other. Until they, set for us the best examples to be followed. We will take a short break. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. We'll come back to Inspirations Eid Special. We're still trying to see some of the lessons that we can take from Ramadan and from Eid. And so that we can really, enjoy our Eid in the best way possible, according to the Sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ. And so that our happiness and our joy during the days of Eid not take us away from Allah, but bring us closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So it's all directed to one, direction and one orientation, which is always to get closer to Allah and to His pleasure, and thus, securing our way to paradise, inshaAllah. Some of the beautiful things that we can do in Eid is not to forget our brothers and our sisters around the world, in the Muslim countries and the Muslim world, those who are suffering. We shouldn't forget the people in Palestine under the occupation. We shouldn't forget their suffering. We shouldn't, forget that most of them now, especially in the Gaza Strip, are suffering so much because of the boycott, because of the siege that is set around them, and because of the humiliation that they have to go through, because of the killing and the massacres that are taking place. We shouldn't forget our brothers and sisters, that if we get the opportunity to be happy, to enjoy ourselves during Eid, there are people who have no reason to enjoy themselves. On the contrary, they have so many, people who passed away, who've been murdered, and they have enough reason to mourn on them. So let's remember our brothers in Somalia who are suffering, who have been, expelled out of their lands, out of their homes, and they're suffering. They can't even find food to eat or clean water to drink. Let's remember the blessings of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on us. And let's pay for those people. Let's give from ourselves for those people. So we alleviate the pain and the suffering. And we remind them that you have brothers and sisters who share with you the same faith, who share with you your belief in Allah, and they do care for you. The Muslim Ummah will never ever, come back to its high position unless we start to feel the suffering of our brothers and sisters and we share with them what we have. Unfortunately today, when you consider the life of so many Muslims, when they watch the news, when they hear about the suffering of the Muslims, in Palestine or in Iraq or in Chechnya or in Kashmir or in, Sudan and in Somalia and different parts of the Muslim world, when they hear about their suffering, they say, we don't want to hear about that. We don't want to watch the news that talks about our brothers and sisters. We don't want to know about that because it will spoil our time. It will spoil our happiness and our joy. This is how selfish we have become. Just to talk, to mention the suffering of our brothers and sisters like that, instead of feeling their suffering, giving from ourselves. Instead of sharing the loaf of bread that we have, cutting it into 2 pieces, giving half to them and keeping half for ourselves. Instead of doing that, we have reached a low, degree of selfishness that we can only think about ourselves, how we can enjoy ourselves. We don't even want to know about the suffering of our Muslim brothers and sisters because it spoils our times of joy. It shouldn't be the case. Our joy comes from our Iman.